Good morning, superstars. Okay, we have an exciting call today. We're going to talk about, in addition to your KDNA and your wins, also how do you get through the ebb and flow, the emotional ups and downs of this fantastic career, because God knows you have them if you are a good realtor. The best realtors are the ones that are passionate about their business and they do treat it like a business. And so all businesses experience highs and lows. And I know personally speaking for myself, when I have read biographies of people that are inspiring and people that have achieved great success and that have really made a difference in the world, then those biographies I've not only learned from, but it's very motivating. And so I really wanted to encourage you to do the same. And also when you are reading and taking advice from others. So we're going to do a quick book review today of something that I read, and I took some of the most applicable information for residential real estate out of this book. And then I also wanted to kind of go through what are some of the traits that the best, most successful people have, whether they're realtors or, and I think applies more for realtors as anyone, and that is they have persistence. So it's persistence and grit and determination that gets you through the lows in this business. So that can be seasonal lows, or it can be lows you have with particular buyers or sellers. And it's how you deal with those lulls and the emotional punches in the business is what will determine your success. So one of the ways to deal with an emotional low or the lows in the business is to always look at what you're learning from it. We always learn the most from our mistakes. So let's make sure that we're cognizant and that we're aware of our mistakes after we make them and learn from that so that way we don't do it again. The traits of the best entrepreneurs and business owners are the determination and persistence. And to do that and to always be learning from what your mistakes are in the past and to be learning of how you move yourself ahead, it requires curiosity. So that's where you have to ask yourself, how motivated or curious am I about this business? Because if you are truly curious and if you are motivated, then you will learn and you'll read and whether it's on YouTube videos, there's so many different ways to learn. I think now with YouTube and watching videos, so many great books and book reviews, you can just YouTube them and find them on YouTube. So it takes a little less mind power sometimes late at night to do that. But biographies of great motivators and learning from others and mentors are great motivators. So the reading list that I have, so the best books, all-time classic books are Good to Great and Covey's books on the laws of success. And those are two that I would recommend. The Science of Getting Rich, very easy read. You can do it in just a couple hours. But and I think in our KDNA tip sheet are other books that I would recommend. One of the stories that I want to tell you is about Gino Balfari, he's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And I was in a meeting with Gino in Orange County, California, about 3 weeks ago. And he asked how I run my management meetings. And I said, well, I use the disciplines that are explained in the book, the 4 disciplines of execution. And they even have this particular Franklin Covey has a coaching program and a coaching system built around this single book. So of course I asked Gino, I said, did you use their coaching program and did you use their consultants to help you integrate the tools of the 4 disciplines of execution? He said, no. He said, I read the book 40 times. So that's something that really hit home with me, and that is a lot of the great books, read them over and over and over again. So the E-Myth is another fantastic book that I would read over and over again. Good to Great is a fantastic book that I would read again and again. Jack Welch, his mantra and what he talks about, his themes are very consistent, but listening to them over and over again is very important. So The E-Myth is they even have a coaching system built around that, but yet reading the book over and over helps tremendously. So I want to chat a little bit about Trump, the best real estate advice I ever received. And this is the book I just read over the weekend. And the stories I'm about to go through now are stories that you can use with your clients that will build credibility. And that is, we know, the number one thing that's lacking in the industry when consumers have been surveyed is credibility with realtors. So Michelle Clear, she's president of Gumley Half to Clear, which I think she may have been on $1 Million Listing, or I know I think she's been featured on one of those. But what she wrote in this book, this is Donald Trump's summary of all the people he's met through the years in real estate and the best advice that they ever received or the best advice that they gave him. So that's where this came from. Know how to interpret your buyers' tastes and preferences. Buyers are liars. Understand why and learn to identify their true drivers and motivation before taking face value at their initial preferences. So the buyers are liars is something we've always heard, but it doesn't have to do with their intent. Most buyers have good intent. They're not intending to lie to you. They just don't know themselves. And that's where you, as a great agent, it's your job to know them better than they know themselves. And that's why you have to peel the onion 3 layers deep to find out, why is it that they want 4 bedrooms? Well, they're expecting another child on the way, or so they really need a nursery that needs to be close to the master. Learn how to interpret these things to where you're asking the question why, when to yourself many times when they tell you what their criteria is or what their specifics are. If this business were as simple to where people could just search on Zillow or search online, then we wouldn't be here. It's a personal business, and the reason the relationship is such an important component in real estate sales is because that's what the great realtors do, is that they learn how to interpret what someone says to them based on the relationship and experience they have with that buyer or seller. They know better than the buyer and seller sometimes what they really need. So that's something that's real important. Richard Meyer, he needs no introduction. He's probably one of the most renowned architects in the world. But hire an architect to create the best high quality environment is the first thing he said. And B, build it near the water. Do those well, and you will always have a good investment. So it made me think about the most expensive property in Dallas. Right now, the Trammell Crow Estate is on Lakeside Drive on the lake, $60 million property. Other properties that are along Bachman Creek in Bluffview, or whether they're in Preston Hollow, depending on what fork of Bachman Creek, backing up to that water, has made that neighborhood in that area some of the most expensive real estate values in Texas. So think about that. It applies in more ways than what may appear. Kim Mogul, CEO of Mogul Realty. No really means convince me. So I think this also goes to what Michelle Clear says about buyers are liars, is that when someone tells you no, then it's your job to educate them as to why it needs to be a yes. So I thought that was a very candid but good piece of advice. Phil Ruffin, CEO owner of Ruffin Companies. This is fantastic information for you guys. I've applied this for years, but I want to make sure as agents that you're applying this. And but once a seller has signed a contract, even with contingencies, the seller has mentally sold the property psychologically. Once the contract is signed, there's always ways to renegotiate the deal. List your litany of problems, propose a new price. You can always go back to your original offer. So make sure that you have the ammunition to do that. Document, substantiate. So how do you do that? With an appraisal, for one. The appraisal substantiates the value, the square footage, the things that are being marketed and presented. The home inspection is another. Home inspection substantiates what is working, not working. Contractors, repair bids to reinforce that home inspection. Just a home inspection doesn't do much. You have to have bids and contractor estimates to substantiate. So keep that in mind. Go where the money is. Only play in those markets. Third piece of advice, he said, sell only if you need the money. The property you are selling is worth more than the money. Number 4, when negotiating, remember the pause. Always hesitate on a key point. The other will hate the silence and will think you are balking. Wait for the other side to speak and cave in. That is fantastic advice that I've used years and years and years, and it has paid dividends over the years. Rhonda Savoy, owner of Savoy Realty. Always keep an upbeat attitude, and of course she's referring to prospecting. She went over a lot of other things, but the first and foremost, what she said was prospecting. 1, 2, and you dial and dial and smile and smile, and you dial and dial and smile and smile. Putting a positive spin on every step in the sales process is the best advice she ever received. Stephen Shapiro, co-owner of luxury real estate firm. Call back quickly. Concentrate on the client and protect your buyer. You are the agent. You can't be the principal in the transaction, but protect your buyer. Sometimes agents are notorious for this, is that they let the commission cloud their judgment and their decisions. The commission and the commission should never cloud your judgment as that agent for that buyer or that seller. Make sure that you are always representing their best interests. And that comes from, if it's a buyer, protecting their best interests and making sure they're getting the best deal and they're most informed, and that takes the best vendors and the best team possible. This is another good advice. When you let a buyer lose a deal, the client always blames the agent for not getting the deal for him or her. I've seen that happen many times. They may not tell you, but many times. Think of all the deals that we've won from buyers that worked with other agents that they couldn't get their offer accepted. It just left a bad taste in their mouth. And back to his advice on call back quickly. So many times it sets the tone for the transaction. So how quickly you communicate with that listing agent when you're representing a buyer, and how fast you're responding to emails, how quickly you're communicating, sets the cadence many times in a transaction. And that cadence is so important to keep, whether it's keeping a deal together or representing the best interests of the party. Emily Tannen, Director of Sales for AJ Clark. When in doubt, buy. I thought this was great advice. The buyer who's purchasing for their own use, this meaning an owner-occupant buyer, will almost always come out a winner, regardless of what market they're in. If they have to sell in a down market and they're trading up, then the trade up will be for less. If they sell in an up market, then they'll get more. A first-time entry-level buyer can always lease the house if they want to move soon, so there's never a downside to buying real estate. If you don't have the money, borrow it. Don't let an opportunity pass you by. You'll be sorry if you do, and you'll never be sorry if you do purchase. That's such great advice for someone that's been licensed since '97, like me. Out of all the years that I've sold, I've never seen a buyer that I know of that regretted a sale. So there may be certain situations they regret, but I've never seen one regret a sale. Josh Danhauser, Chairman of Burnham Wood Global Real Estate Services. Clients want to be intelligently, professionally, and aggressively represented, but most of all, they want to be fiercely represented. Always place the client's interest above your own. So that goes to what I said earlier. Donald Trump Jr., there's no substitute for passion. This is something Mike Ferry says all the time as well. If you're passionate, if you put a passionate person against an experienced realtor who's been in the business for 50 years that is not as excited to be on that listing appointment, that passionate person will take the listing every time. So pending the dialogues are the same. So always be passionate about your business. Scott Wolstein, CEO and Chairman of Developers Diversified Realty. Be prepared to close your briefcase and walk away. This also has to do with agents getting attached to the commission dollars when they're negotiating deals. Don't fall in love with the deal. Know a person's hot buttons. So that's where knowing your seller, asking the right questions to that listing agent when you're representing a buyer, their preferred possession, time frame, why they're moving, where they're moving to. You really want to make sure you're following that offer checklist and following those KD&A tips in your KD&A matrix to get these things accepted. Doug Fry, CEO of Colliers. Look beyond truisms. I thought this was real interesting. Real estate is a relationship business. It's a truism we've heard for years. He says, not true. Real estate is an identity business. People do business with others that they want to identify with. So I thought that will help them achieve their personal goals. So I thought that was real interesting perspective. Location, location, location. Another truism we've heard for years and years. But in today's world, the key is specialization. 100% focus on a specialization. A generalist will come in second, while a specialist will always finish first. This goes back to your geofarming and knowing your neighborhoods and the focus and intensity you have on your neighborhoods. Access to information has leveled the playing field. Actually, the glut of it, this is a truism we've heard. Access to information has leveled the playing field. And I think we'd all say in some ways it has. But he says the glut of information has shifted the emphasis from speed to quality of execution. People with experience will identify and extract the important data. I started that in my own career, in my own work, is that I see some people that are newer that don't extract the data or don't know what they need to be looking for sometimes. Lewis Godkin, CEO of Goodkin Consulting. We sell products to people, not statistics. The more knowledgeable you are about the people who make up your markets, the more successful you will be in satisfying their wants, needs, and abilities. That is so true. Being a relationship-based business and a people business, it is a person that's making these decisions, no matter what the decision is. So knowing what motivates them is so critical. Harvey Green, CEO of Marcus Millichap. They're probably the largest apartment brokerage in the nation. Be in the real estate market as an investor and believe in the market. Throughout time, real estate has endured as one of the most effective, if not the most effective, vehicles for creating wealth and security over the long term. Know who you are as an investor, what your goals and your plan is up front. This goes with any homeowner that's making a purchase. That is, how long are they going to be in the home? What improvements do they plan on making to the home? You need to know this. If they're buying an older neighborhood, are they going to add on to the house and enhance the value? So whether it's an investor or owner occupant, knowing what their exit plan is up front helps you tremendously in finding the right and identifying the right real estate for that buyer. Approach acquisitions like professionals. The profit is made when real estate is bought. And that's because you have a plan in place on investment properties to increase the value. Era Zaki, CEO of Zaki, never ever show emotion when negotiating a deal. Emotion doesn't fit when you deal from a position that is unfailingly honest. I had to read that a couple or three times, and I think that is really, really important. Again, it shows how realtors so many times get clouded in the commission check and they get emotionally involved in a transaction. And if you are logical and if you're negotiating from logic and you have the information as a professional, the realtor, to be equipping your client, your buyer or seller, then emotion should not play a role in that. And if you are completely honest, then the emotion shouldn't be a factor. So that's something everyone should think about. Craig King, president of J.K. King Luxury. Sell dreams, not dirt. Dirt is cheap. Dreams are priceless. Focus on what the property can be. Capture a man's imagination, and he'll not only pay top dollar, but thank you for the privilege. So it's kind of a dichotomy between the previous statement in a way. But it's your job as a professional to find out what the potential is, what is the highest and best use of a property, what is, help them with their long-term planning, help them with their exit plan up front when they're looking at a move-up property. So those are things to think about. Okay, our KDNA agents, congratulations. We have some Sarah Jones, Kathy Crow, Barbara, Justin, Nena, and Angela all are right now so far for the year in the green. So those are our only agents that are in the green for the year. That's again, Sarah Jones, Kathy Crow, Barbara Chafin, Justin, Nena, Angela, Cressini. So those are the agents that if they keep doing what they're doing, then they should meet or exceed their income goal. So if you're any of those that are not, let me know, and let's make some refinements on your KDNA goals or take a look at some of the metrics that may not be working. But it looks like most of you in that group are meeting your closing goal. But like I said, if you're not, let me know. Okay, some of our KDNA wins for last week. Rupal had an open house with 10 families attended and picked up 2 potential buyers. Good job, Rupal. Corey has 2 buyer closings and picked up a new listing as well. Jill Bell closing for another buyer this week. Jill's been on a streak. That's fantastic. Nina picked up a new buyer referral and a referral from an old coworker. So that's fantastic. Nina has been very consistent with her business and is doing fantastic. I'm so happy for her. Justin picked up 2 new prospects, one from an investor and one from his sphere of influence. Rose and Jesse closing on a buyer who was a referral, and it's a good price buyer. Venus has a new buyer and past client. Sarah Jones, new listing from Tiger Leads, and did fantastic hosting the Jimmy Buffett tailgate party. Kudos to you, Sarah. All right, you guys have a profitable and productive week. Let me know if I can help in any way. Just a housekeeping. We have our sales meeting next Tuesday. So not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Also keep in mind, we have surveys, mid-year surveys coming out. We normally do these in June. So start thinking now about these are anonymous surveys too. So anything anonymous or not, would like your feedback as much as possible, but ways that we can improve the brokerage, things that we can do for you that will help you with your business more. We're always looking for ways to improve. So your feedback is really, really helpful with that. And those will probably come out sometime this week. So be sure to complete those. We'd like to go over those results and talk about those results next Tuesday at the sales meeting. So we want to get those in this week. All right, you guys have a fantastic, productive, profitable week. Thank you.